3,000 years before neuroscience had a name, before brain scans, before laboratories, before we even understood what a neuron was. Someone, somewhere in ancient India, held this leaf to their lips and whispered, "This is medicine for the soul." They were right, and it took us 3 millennia to prove it. Now, let me ask you something honest. When was the last time your mind was truly quiet? Not distracted, not numbed, not scrolling through someone else's life at 2 in the morning, looking for something you can't even name. Actually quiet. Because here's what nobody tells you about the modern world. It wasn't designed for your brain. It was designed against it. Your cortisol is high. Your attention span is fragmented. Your nervous system is stuck in a loop it was never built to sustain. You're not broken. You're overstimulated. You're not weak. You're unsupported. And the strangest part? The support your body is crying out for has been growing quietly in the soil for thousands of years. Waiting. It's a plant so sacred that millions of families in India don't just grow it in their gardens. They grow it in their prayer rooms. They touch it before they begin their day. They whisper to it. They bow to it. And for the longest time, the Western world dismissed all of that as superstition until science looked closer. Her name is Tulsi. In the West, you might know her as Holy Basil, Ocimum tenuiflorum. But in the oldest healing tradition on earth, Ayurveda, she was given a title that no other plant received. The Incomparable One, the Queen of Herbs, the Mother Medicine of Nature. The ancient Ayurvedic texts, the Charaka Samhita, written over 3,000 years ago, described Tulsi not merely as a remedy for coughs or fevers. They described her as something far more radical. A bridge between the body and the mind, between stress and stillness, between the chemical storm raging inside you and the calm you forgot you were born with. They said Tulsi could brighten the mind, strengthen the heart, and harmonize the spirit. And here's where this story takes a turn that should genuinely stop you in your tracks. Modern neuroscience, armed with brain scans, randomized controlled trials, and molecular biology, arrived at the exact same conclusion. In the last 2 decades, peer-reviewed research published in journals like the Journal of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine, the Indian Journal of Clinical Biochemistry, and Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine has shown that Tulsi operates on your brain in ways that most people, even most doctors, have never heard of. Tulsi is what scientists now classify as an adaptogen. And this word, adaptogen, is one of the most important words in modern wellness science. But almost nobody truly understands what it means. An adaptogen doesn't remove your stress. It doesn't sedate you. It doesn't numb you. It does something far more intelligent. It teaches your body how to adapt to stress, how to meet the storm without becoming the storm. And Tulsi may be the most sophisticated adaptogen nature has ever produced. Let's go inside. Let's look at what actually happens on a biochemical level when Tulsi enters your body. Because this is where ancient reverence meets modern revelation. Tulsi contains a constellation of bioactive compounds: eugenol, rosmarinic acid, osmumicides, ursolic acid, apigenin, linalool, each one a key, and your brain is full of locks. Let's start with what matters most to you right now: your stress. When you're stressed, and let's be honest, when are you not? Your adrenal glands flood your bloodstream with cortisol. That's your fight or flight hormone. In short bursts, it saved our ancestors from predators. But you don't have predators. You have deadlines. You have debt. You have notifications. You have a mind that won't stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios at 3 a.m. And so cortisol doesn't surge and retreat. It stays. It becomes chronic. It soaks your brain like acid rain. Chronic cortisol shrinks your hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory and emotional regulation. It disrupts your prefrontal cortex, your center of focus, decision-making, and impulse control. It inflames your gut. It disrupts your sleep architecture. It literally rewires your brain for anxiety. Now, here's what Tulsi does. Studies have demonstrated that Tulsi modulates the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which is your body's central stress response system. It normalizes cortisol, not by suppressing it, but by regulating it, bringing it back to baseline. restoring the rhythm your body lost. But that's only the beginning. Tulsi enhances the activity of GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid, your brain's primary calming neurotransmitter. GABA is the neurochemical equivalent of a hand on your shoulders saying, "You're safe. You can rest now." When GABA is low, your mind races. Your jaw clenches. Your chest tightens. You feel like you're falling even when you're standing still. Tulsi helps GABA do its job. And then there's something even more remarkable. Neuroinflammation, the silent epidemic. Researchers are now linking chronic low-grade brain inflammation to depression, brain fog, cognitive decline, and even neurodegenerative disease. Your brain, inflamed, is like trying to think through wet cement. Tulsi's compounds, particularly rosmarinic acid and eugenol, are potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant agents. They cross the blood-brain barrier. They don't just soothe the body, they soothe the brain itself. So think about this for a moment. 3,000 years ago, a grandmother in a village outside Varanasi placed Tulsi at the center of her home. She didn't know about the HPA axis. She'd never heard the word cortisol. She couldn't name a neurotransmitter. But she knew. She knew that when her children drank Tulsi tea, they slept deeper. She knew that when she breathed near the plant at dawn, her thoughts became clearer. She knew that something in this leaf spoke directly to the mind. She didn't have the language of science. She had something older. She had attention. Thousands of years of careful, patient, embodied attention. And that might be the most important thing science has forgotten. That knowledge doesn't always begin in a laboratory. Sometimes it begins in a garden. Now, I'm not here to sell you a miracle. Nature doesn't deal in miracles. Nature deals in patience. And Tulsi is, perhaps, the most patient teacher you'll ever meet. You can drink her as tea, warm, peppery, slightly sweet, like the earth decided to comfort you. You can take her as an extract, a tincture, a supplement. But here's what I think matters more than any of those. You can grow her. There's something that happens to a human being when they care for a living thing. Something that no pill replicates. No obsimulats. No algorithm understands. When you water a plant every morning, you are, without realizing it, building a ritual. And ritual is the architecture of a regulated mind. When you watch a seed become a stem become a leaf become a flower, you are witnessing the only real lesson life has to offer. That growth is slow. That growth is quiet. And that growth happens even when no one is watching. The Ayurvedic sages called Tulsi a rasyana, a rejuvenator. But the word means something deeper than physical renewal. It means the path of essence, a return to what is fundamental, a return to who you were before the noise convinced you to be someone else. And isn't that what we're all looking for? Not an escape from life, but a return to the part of ourselves that knows how to live. Neuroscience calls it homeostasis. Psychology calls it self-regulation. Spirituality calls it inner peace. Tulsi doesn't care what you call it. She just grows, and she invites you to do the same. So here's what I want to leave you with. You live in a world that profits from your anxiety, that monetizes your insomnia, that turns your loneliness into data and your attention into currency. And in the middle of all of that, there's a plant, a small, quiet, ancient, stubborn, generous plant. It doesn't need your Wi-Fi. It doesn't need your subscription. It doesn't need you to perform wellness for an audience. It just needs soil, water, light, and your presence. Maybe the most radical thing you can do in the modern world is sit beside something that grows slowly, breathe in its fragrance, and remember that you, too, are a living thing. That you, too, were meant to bloom. Not on a schedule, not on demand, but in your own time, in your own soil, under your own sky. The ancient healers knew. The molecules confirm it. And somewhere deep inside you, beneath the noise, beneath the rush, beneath everything you carry that was never yours to carry, you know it too. If this felt like something you needed to hear today, you're probably not the only one. Share it with someone whose mind could use a little quiet. And if you'd like to keep exploring the forgotten connections between nature, the mind, and what it means to truly be alive, this is the Plant Mind. We'll be here, growing. Subscribe if it feels right. No pressure, just an open door.